It looks like I'm getting ugly. Whatever. Sup, guys? I hope all of you are good. Because today I'll be talking about mental health. Mental health is quite an important topic, but not much people are talking about it. And I think I should. Mental health includes our social, psychological, and emotional well being. Are you guys good? Like, are you really good? Mental health should not be underrated because it affects how we think, act, and feel. Yeah. It also helps determine how we handle our stress, relate to others, and make choices. It's quite important at each and every stage from childhood to adulthood. That brings me to the positive mental health and negative mental health. I like being optimistic, so I'll start with positive mental health. Positive mental health allows us as individuals to realize our full potential and cope with life stresses because stress is natural in life. So you've got to learn how to handle stress. It also helps us work productively and make contributions, positive contributions to the nation. Isn't that cool? But negative mental health, that's where the trouble comes in because when you're thinking negatively, when your mental health is not positive, that's when thoughts of suicide come in and all other crazy stuffs. And I don't think this should be handled lightly. That's why if you're not okay socially, psychologically, emotionally, you've got to find someone to talk to. Yeah, because you can't keep everything in. You got to find someone you trust and talk because conversing helps a whole lot. Oh, I forgot something else. The factors that affect our mental well-being. So the factors that affect or contribute to our mental health are the first being biological factors such as genes or brain chemistry. Then we've got trauma. Some people go to war, they come back with PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. Yeah, I'm sure it affects them mentally. And others, it could be something in the family. Yeah, like you inherit from a family member or something. Those are the three important factors that contribute to our mental well-being. And I don't think we have enough psychologists where we find ourselves, but our friends can be a psychologist. We could talk to them, as I said earlier. Talking, getting rid of the burden, it helps. And mental health problems are quite common. I think even when you go into states of depression, that has to do with your mental health. Sometimes it happens to me, but as I said, I like being optimistic. So I don't allow the depression to get the better of me. As soon as I start sinking into the dark abyss, I find a way to lift myself up. Others may not be that strong. They don't have the strength, but you've got to find that strength from somewhere. Yeah, because our mind is quite complicated, so we can't give in to the stress we face. We can't give in to all the negativity around us. So we've got to think positively and smile. With this in mind, I've got my cousin who's got a few things to say.
Hey, what's up? So I'm here to just give you a quick snapshot of my experience with dealing with mental and behavioral health. November 2015, I was in Brooklyn, sitting in a pizza shop, eating pizza, and just minding my business. Out of nowhere, I started crying. I broke down, started crying. But this is not unusual for me. There's been different times in my life where I just become emotionally overwhelmed, and crying was my outlet because I didn't know what to do with all that extra emotion. But this time, I decided maybe it was time for me to go seek professional help from a mental health professional, and that's what I did. But as I was going in to go see this psychologist, I just assumed it'd probably be a quick diagnosis of PTSD because I just came back from a combat zone 2 years earlier. Boy, was I in for a rude awakening. So I get there and I start detailing my life, and I just start talking about how like I was having memory problems, and I often become withdrawn from people, and I have problem focusing and concentrating or even doing things I used to love doing. And I would just be, but there'd be times when I'd just be super happy and like I would just be overconfident and like I would just feel like I could just do whatever, whenever. And so she listened, took notes, and at the end of the session, she was like, you most likely have a manic depression or bipolar disorder. But then a week later, I'll go to see a psychiatrist. And I know I detailed the same situation to him again, and he comes up with the same diagnosis. So after that, I started scheduling an appointment with my psychologist for one time a month. And for a year, I went straight, no problem. But at the same time, while I was going, I wasn't doing any work outside of me going to see her. I would just go for that 1 hour or whatever long the session was, and that would be it. And then I stopped going for a little bit. And but meanwhile, I'm living a life that's not conducive to a healthy mindset. Like I was drinking a lot. I was out there partying all the time, participating in recreational drugs. Like not taking care of my body, just hanging out with, just letting whoever, whatever come around me because I just like having people around me. That was my way of dealing with my emotions and my feelings. I never addressed them directly. It wasn't until this beginning of this year that I sat down with myself and I decided I wanted to be a healthy human being. So not only did I start going to therapy again, this time around, I decided when I left therapy or just in my regular everyday, I would sit down with myself and focus on my health and focus on my mental state of being, focus on how I felt, focus on what made me feel certain ways, focus on the people that came around me that would trigger me into having an emotional, negative emotions, and then I just slowly started like working on that. I slowly started focusing. Whenever I had a bad thought, I would stop myself. I was cognizant of the fact I was having a negative thought, and I will evaluate why I was having that thought, and I would try to rephrase it in a positive way, you know. So it's like bipolar disorder is something that's going to be with me for the rest of my life. It's something that I've always had my whole entire life. It's just because it's just a brain chemistry issue that I have, But it can be exacerbated, and made worse if I don't do the best I can to take care of it, i.e., make sure I'm not around any negative people or negativity all the time. I.e., make sure I'm kind to myself. Make sure I think in positive ways. Yeah, life gets hard sometimes, but you always got to try to. It's about perspectives. Life gets hard, but there's always good things in the bad. Even when like chaos is happening around me, there's great things going on for me in life. So rather than focus on the negative, I focus on the positive, and then the negative, I try to see how I can make them into positives. And if I can't control it, I can't control it. What you can't control, you can't fret on. You must learn to live in the moment. Once you start living in the moment, you're more in control of who you are and how you think, and that's what I do. You know, so it's like for most of us, it's a chemical issue, and you can't control that, but you can help and you can like have an effect on how often things happen and how impactful they are in your life by making sure you take care of your mental health, making sure you take care of your thought process, making sure you take care of your physical health, you make sure you put yourself in the best position to win. And by that I mean be aware of who you are, be aware of the people around you. Don't allow people who are there to be negative and bring you down or in your life, because the moment you do that, the moment you lose this fight, because it's already a hard fight, trust me, but it's a fight that you have to fight to make it better. Because if not, I don't know where I'll be right now if I had to let my thoughts win, you know. So it's like I hope this is what helpful to somebody.